This episode is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. When was the last time you reviewed your insurance policy? So it's been a while, huh? Well, no worries. My friends at the Austin Brummett Agency would love to hear from you and provide you with some amazing rates. Give them a call at 678-402-8262 or email them at abrummett@farmersagent.com. That's ABRUMIT at farmersagent.com, and tell them Harli sent you. Insiders, Inside the Bubble with Harli G is now sponsored by BetterHelp. As a partner of this episode, listeners can access the BetterHelp link located in the show notes to receive 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp and get matched with a therapist who will listen and help. Go to BetterHelp, that is BetterHelp.com/inside the bubble, the link to get started. You're listening to Inside the Bubble with Harli G, the podcast for the superwoman. Every week, we connect with amazing individuals who share their inspirational experiences and stories while motivating and inspiring purpose. It's time to hang your cape. Grab your coffee, your water, your cocktail, and come on in Inside the Bubble with me, your host, Harli G. Welcome, insiders, to Inside the Bubble with Harli G. This is actually my first solo episode of 2023, and I'm really excited to talk about this important subject. Today, we are talking about imposter syndrome. This is something that has impacted me through most of my life. I am open to say that, and I really actually have been moved. I have been thinking about speaking on this subject for a while now, and really had to gear up the courage to do so. Written down some notes because I want to make sure that I'm able to articulate and speak accurately on this subject. And I have some facts for usually listeners as well to be listened to that I felt like were eye-opening for me. So have you ever felt like you are not worth it or don't deserve? Whether it's wealth, your dream job, or that car you've always wanted, you've thought that could never be me. And I have to say that I used to be like that. I used to be the one wishing and thinking that, oh, one day I would love to have that dream car, or one day I would love to be successful. One day, I would love to have this or be there or do this. And for me, the minute I thought about it, I would think, well, that's just wishful thinking. Like, I don't know if I could ever be able to do that. Today, I want to talk about the conversation that you have with yourself when no one is around. We have a tendency to actually do a lot of negative self-talk when no one is around. The conversation that you're having in your head, what type of conversations are you having? Are they uplifting? Are they encouraging? Or are you having imposter syndrome? Are you telling yourself that, you know what, that couldn't be me? Or, I don't know if I could ever do that. I don't know if I'm good enough. Some facts for you to think about is, according to Verywellmind, they define imposter syndrome as the internal psychological experience of feeling like a phony in some areas of life, despite any success that you have achieved in that area. So I just want to sit in that for a second, because I know that I've had many successes in life. At some point, some period of time, I've had what I would consider success. But I have to say that in the past, I have been prone to saying, ooh, that was just luck, or that could never happen again. Just undermining those success, not contributing it to the amount of work I put in, the skill set that I've had, just really downplaying that and attributing to just me just being lucky, or that's just something that could only happen to me once. Also, did you know, another fun fact, that 70% of people have experienced feelings of imposter at some point in their lives, according to the International Journal of Behavioral Science. So that means 7 out of 10 people, that's a lot. 7 out of 10 people have experienced imposter syndrome. That is mind-blowing to me, because I thought that this was something that was isolated to me and nobody could relate to what I'm going to, because no one could possibly understand what's happening right now. No one else could possibly be experiencing this imposter syndrome that I'm experiencing, which it could not be further from the truth, because like I said, according to the International Journal of Behavioral Science, 70% of our population experience imposter syndrome at some point. So that means that in your close environment, in your close circle, in your community, in your circle of friends, unbeknownst to you, somebody else is probably experiencing that as well, and you probably have no idea that they are. So check in on your friends, guys, okay? Because most likely somebody knows exactly what you're going through, or is going through it, or has experienced it. So going back to the conversations that we have, you have with yourself. So what does imposter syndrome look like, right? So what are some of those things that you're telling yourself, or some of those conversations that you're having with yourself that you can identify as imposter syndrome? So these are some things. 1, you feel like a fraud. Okay. 2, you have self-doubt. So you doubt what you are doing. You constantly self-doubt. Well, yes, is this okay? Well, am I doing it right? Or I don't know. Self-doubt. You second guess yourself. Okay. I know that I have, if I'm not self-aware, I have a tendency to do that. I second guess myself. Well, okay, so I know I said this. I'm sure, but am I sure though? Maybe not. So those are some thoughts or conversations that represent imposter syndrome. Another one, you only succeeded because of luck, not because of your skill sets. You downplay your accomplishment or think that you need to do even better next time. Now, you could be working on a project at work and you know you have given it your all. You know that you gave it 200%. You went above and beyond. You know you did. But still, at the end of the day, you're still thinking, maybe I could have done it better. Maybe I can do it better next time. Maybe I could work even later next time to get it done, or that is a sign of imposter syndrome. I've been there, guys. I have been there, and I didn't allow myself to accept who I was and what I was capable of accomplishing. I thought, you know what? My gosh, they're doing such a good job. There is no way that I can come in behind them, or there is no way that I can do as good of a job as they are, because I have put other people's accomplishment on a pedestal and not fully acknowledged mine, or even believed in the accomplishments or what I've done. Like I just thought that what other people were doing were better than what I was doing. I thought that people that were successful were better. I would compare myself to them, thinking they worked harder, they were smarter, they made the right choices in life, and they were destined to be where they were. So meaning they deserve to be successful. They deserve to be where they are. They worked hard and I did not. Okay, well, am I destined to be that good? I couldn't possibly be that successful. I couldn't attain this goal. Maybe I'm not good enough to accomplish this, whatever it is. And that is, that is such it couldn't be a better definition of imposter syndrome if I didn't, other than, what's in the dictionary. I could not be more wrong. And so I'm saying all of this, talking about putting some statistics out there and giving an example, because I do feel like this is something that we do more often than not. And we have a tendency to brush it under the rug and not acknowledge it. And it might be subtle. It may not be some of these phrases that I've pointed out or some of these thoughts, but it's along the same lines nevertheless. So just because you're walking around not saying that you're a fraud, meantime you're also thinking that you're not good enough, that's imposter syndrome. Okay? So these are some words, but it's not limited to, what I'm trying to say is it's not limited to what I have here. It's much more than that. It could be a small thought. A thought that, let's say, for example, hey, I'm going on vacation, and I'm going to the beach. Well, I couldn't possibly wear a two-piece on the beach because of how I look. Well, says who? Why can't you wear that two-piece on your vacation and enjoy yourself and love the way your body is, regardless of whatever somebody else looks like? Why not? You're already putting it in your thoughts. You're already affirming to yourself that you're not good enough and you're not even there yet. And who's to say, who decides what your body type should look like? Who decided that you weren't good enough to be in a two-piece suit? No one did but you, okay? And it starts with you. So if you're already putting yourself out there like that, if you're already thinking that, then don't fault other people for thinking that way as well.
Ladies, I know there's so much to do and not enough time in a day. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But what are you doing for yourself? Well, I've recently discovered Body Bar Pilates. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Body Bar Pilates will challenge all of your major muscle groups and provide you with a full body workout. Wow. Listen, I had to check it out. I took a class with Sherelle and it was amazing. They have workouts for all skill levels, whether you're just starting out or you're just looking for a new way to move your body. This is the community for you. Check out my friends at Body Bar Pilates East Cobb, or give them a call at 678-941-4371. And don't forget to mention me, Harli G.
Okay, so just want to drop that little nugget right there. For a while I was younger, and I'm not trying to lay blame on anyone but me, but I do think that part of my thought process was attributed to my upbringing, some of my culture. There are some cultures that very much downplay the woman, right? That very, very much downplay women and their value and their worth. Now, I will say that my family, my mother is very much a very strong figure. And so in my family, my upbringing, my example was that my mother was always a strong person. Women are strong. Women can accomplish whatever they want. But in the dynamic of parent-child, the message was different. Okay, the message was, you're respectful, you don't talk back, You don't stir the waters. You don't, conflict was not acceptable. You were very much kind of like, it was very much of a parent-child relationship. And so I think for me, that translated to some of my imposter syndrome. It translated to my relationship. It's translated to my voice and me being heard and me speaking up for myself at times because of some of those cultural beliefs that were instilled, or some of those dynamics, parent-child dynamics, that I grew up around. And I think some of that attributed to me having imposter syndrome later on. Okay, so I just want to say a little story. So a couple of Christmases ago, my sister gave me a bracelet. Beautiful bracelet, beautiful gift, and it also came with a stone. It was just a beautiful bracelet, and it was kind of like that. It was like that rose gold kind of bracelet, but it had a plate on it, and on the plate it had a saying, a scripture on it. Not a biblical scripture, a saying, and it said, "Believe in yourself as much as I do." And she gave me that bracelet. And for me, that bracelet struck a chord with me. I don't know, at the time, I can't pinpoint it. I couldn't pinpoint why I was feeling the way I was feeling. But for me, the bracelet signified that even though for her, it was just and maybe I should ask her, bring her on the pod and bring that up. But, I think that for her, and I'll confirm that, she was just giving me a nice bracelet with a beautiful saying on it. But for me, that bracelet signified so much more, because for me, when I saw that bracelet, I knew when I looked at that bracelet that I had not been believing in myself. I knew that I had, like, all of those imposter syndrome feelings came up when I received that bracelet. I knew that I didn't believe in myself. I knew that I was downplaying my skill set. I wasn't confident. I doubted my value. I doubted what I brought up to the table. And I had been struggling. You may have heard me say this on past episodes, that I had a confidence issue because that was something that I always struggled in. And I think part of it was because I wasn't walking in my purpose, which I have identified that in other episodes, that once you start walking in your purpose, it did a 360 for me as far as confidence. But when I received that bracelet, some of the emotions that it solicited were, I was like, wow. It was kind of a symbol that was telling me, it was signifying that you've been doubting yourself, you have not believed in yourself, while you're sitting here being a cheerleader for everybody else, and you're cheering them on, and you're supporting them, and you're walking along the journey. You're not doing that for yourself. You know that there's more for you, but you have not pursued it because you self-doubt. You're not confident. You don't know if you can do it. You don't know if you can accomplish it. So I just want to let you know, my sister's probably is listening to this, or will listen to it at some point. I just wanted to give a point of reference to where I was even just a couple of years ago. And so it's real. It is real. It is real. So she gave me that bracelet, and it was just like, it hurt a nerve for me. It really did. And I started wearing the bracelet. But I didn't have a plan. I didn't, I started wearing it, but I still did not put any action or didn't do anything to change how I was feeling. It wasn't until like a year later 2021 that I really started doing something about it. But I don't think that I've ever really sat down and had a conversation with anyone and said, hey, and talked about imposter syndrome. I don't think I have. I think I've had other conversations with individuals about confidence and things of that nature, but imposter syndrome, which not I realize that it's something that I've felt for a long time. I think it's probably something that I've always felt on some level, but I've never communicated that or told anyone. And I might have even hid it from individuals, although I did feel it and it did manifest itself in conversations from time to time. And how I realize that now is while having conversation with individuals, I would say things like, correct me if I'm wrong, or this may not matter, or in my personal opinion. So what I'm doing is I'm already putting it out there, even be leading the conversation with doubt and self-esteem issues. I'm leading it that way so that if I am corrected, if I am wrong, then I've already told you. So why are you pointing that out? Because I already know. That would be how I would lead my conversations, and I realize how detrimental that is. How detrimental that is to my self-esteem, and how I was already kind of living that imposter life, right? You would also be surprised to know that even some most successful people that nowadays have experienced imposter syndrome. Like I mentioned earlier, 70% of individuals have experienced imposter syndrome at some point in their life. And I was doing a little bit of research because I was like, okay, 70% is a big number. So what are some people that we may know that have experienced this? And you would be surprised to know, Tom Hanks was quoted saying this: no matter what we've done, there comes a point where you think, how did I get here? When are they going to discover that I am in fact a fraud and take everything away from me? That is so deep. That is so deep. So you think somebody is well known, is as successful as Tom Hanks. I mean, I remember watching one of my favorite movies growing up was Splash. I know I'm dating myself, and some of you guys probably don't even know that movie, but it was a movie where Tom Hanks fell in love with a mermaid, like a real life mermaid. Okay, so if you haven't seen it, it's an old movie. It's like back in the 80s, but trust me, it's a cute movie. But anyway, so I remember watching that movie and thinking, oh my gosh, what an amazing actor. Like just seeing the way what is it? Castaway. I mean, we could all name numerous movies that Tom Hanks has done. And I think we can all agree that he is an amazing actor. I mean, he's the one studying and he's the one reading those lines and he's the one embodying those characters. And so when an actor wins an award, it's not because they did somebody else's work. A lot of hard work went into them portraying and bringing that character to life. So I don't think anyone would take away from Tom Hanks his accomplishments, right? But here he is saying that he feels like a fraud. He feels like at any moment somebody's going to come and call him out and say, hey, you're a fraud. Isn't that crazy? Another person that I researched is Lady Gaga. And she says, I still sometimes feel like a loser kid in high school, and I just have to pick myself up and tell myself that I am a superstar every morning so that I can get through this day and be for my fans what they need me to be. Wow. Every morning though? Every morning. Repeat. I have to pick myself up and tell myself that I am a superstar every morning. so that I can get through this day and be for my fans what they need me to be. Isn't that crazy? Like, it's big, again, as big and successful and famous as Lady Gaga is, she has to remind herself daily that she's a superstar. And now, not taken away from the quote, while this is her quote, I would say, don't be what someone else needs you to be who you need to be. And that will be a whole different podcast that we can talk on and elaborate or whatever. But the point is, even somebody as successful as famous as Lady Gaga feels like every day she has to overcome and be self-aware of imposter syndrome. One more example for you guys. So, my dear sweet Michelle Obama says, I still have imposter syndrome. It never goes away. First, I mean, isn't that crazy? So for her, she is something that she deals with constantly. Again, I just quoted Lady Gaga, but even for Michelle Obama, somebody as classy and as prestigious as she is, feels like this is something that she has to live through every single day, constantly. Like, it doesn't go away for her. I just think that is very, very insightful, and it should tell you that, listen, this is not, while this is something that I don't feel like we talk about, this is not, I haven't had many conversations in the past about imposter syndrome. It's not something that I literally have had conversation with anybody in the past. But I do, obviously, this is something that impacts a lot of individuals. And I think we need to start having conversations about it. To one, bring self-aware or awareness of it. And to one, say, you know what, it's okay. I understand because I've been through it. I've done it. And to hold each other accountable. We can help each other get through this. Some of the things, I think there are some things that we need to do to recognize it, because I do feel like some of this imposter syndrome is coming from a place of fear, right? So some of the things that I feel like we can do to counteract imposter syndrome is, one, affirmations. I actually have an affirmation app on my phone, and there's a daily reminder at 9 o'clock that pops up that reminds me to do my affirmations. So if you're sitting here having conversation with yourself and telling yourself, hey, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worth it, or I don't have the confidence to do this, well, let's counteract it with affirmations, because affirmations is you telling yourself that you are good enough constantly. It is you telling yourself that you do have the confidence. It is you telling yourself that you are worth it, and you can be successful, and you will achieve it, and you deserve it. So having those affirmations in front of you and being able to say them every single day is a good way to counteract imposter syndrome. 2, when you feel yourself going there, say it out loud. Because guess what? You saying out loud, you'll realize how ridiculous you sound. Okay? So I think that saying out loud, there's power in saying it out loud, because then you'll hear how untrue the statement is. So saying, I'm not good enough. What? I mean, just saying that out loud, like, it sounds weird. It doesn't sound right. I don't deserve it. What? Seriously? So try saying those imposter syndrome thoughts out loud. And I really feel like when you're saying them, you'll feel how wrong they are. Like, wait a minute, this is not me. And then you'll start recognizing the conversation that you're having. Because when we internalize it, we're hiding it. We're keeping it on the DL. and so now we're able to play that videotape over again. We're able to live in it. We're able to just internalize it and word flip it. But when you say it out loud, that's also a sign of just release and letting it go, and also realizing that, wait a minute, this doesn't even sound right, right? So 2, when those imposter syndrome thoughts enter your mind, try saying them out loud and hear how ridiculous they sound. Okay. Start imagining what would happen. 3, start imagining what would happen if you were successful. What would happen? What would happen if you actually started imagining you deserving it, right? So visualizing your success, visualizing yourself being confident, visualizing yourself being assertive, visualizing yourself having a voice and standing up for yourself. What would happen if you started visualizing that every single time one of those thoughts entered your mind, right? I think there's power in that. There's power in vision. There's power in visual affirmations. I think there's a lot of power in that. So that is one of the countermeasures that I feel like is a good way of overcoming imposter syndrome. 4, what would you tell someone if they came to you and said, you know what, I don't deserve it? And I've actually done that. I've actually went to a friend of mine and was like, oh my gosh, I want this, but I just don't deserve it. And they were like, what? What do you mean you don't deserve it? You've done this, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this. So explain to me why you don't deserve it. And I had no rebuttal. I had no comeback when they told me that. So if someone came to you and said, hey, Susie, I feel like I don't deserve this, how would you respond? Okay, now imagine, so why can't you not flip that on yourself, right? So practicing, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm just not good enough for this. And then you will respond, how? What do you mean you're not good enough for this? Why are you not good enough for this? Here's what you have done. Here's how you deserve it. So just imagine if your best friend was coming up to you and said, hey, I don't deserve it, or I'm not confident, or I'm not good enough for this. And how would you respond? And so imagine yourself responding to yourself that way. And then 5, therapy, guys. I cannot talk. I'm not a professional. This is simply a subject that I felt moved to talk about. I felt that this is something that a lot of people struggle with internally, and we don't talk enough about it. So I am by no means a professional on this. I did research these facts, and there's a lot more out there. But therapy, I know that for me, dealing with these imposter syndromes, confidence, going through these issues, it helps. Absolutely helps. Tremendous help to have a therapist or seeking professional help to help you through those, because there are trigger points that you may not be aware of. There are practices that a professional can help you put in place to recognize, because sometimes we don't recognize, we're not even aware that we're doing this. And so there are definitely some practices and some tools and resources that a professional therapist can help you put in place to counteract these situations, imposter syndrome. So that is something that I feel like is definitely a resource that individuals should they see, especially like, how is this impacting your professional life? How is this impacting your personal life, having imposter syndrome? How do you feel like it's bleeding over to other areas in your life? And so that's definitely something that you should be seeking professional help on. Okay. And I have to say that for me, I'm not afraid to say it. I have a therapist. Hopefully she's listening to my podcast. But I have a therapist, and I know that she has helped me tremendously. And she'll catch me while I'm in the middle of doing it, or in the middle of saying it, or whatever. She'll catch me. She said, "No, let's change that. You said this. Let's correct that. How should you say it?" And she's an amazing therapist. Shout out to Ingrid. And then having an accountability partner. So if this is something that you are actively working on, now that you're aware of it, then what are some things that you can put in place to help you with that? And so we just talked about the therapist, having an accountability partner. So saying to a friend that you're close to, if you feel comfortable, saying, "Hey, if you hear me say this, or if you hear me talking like this, hem me up, okay? Like, stop me, help me so that I'm aware." Because like I said, sometimes we don't even realize what we're doing. And so we need the people around us, our friends, our family, to kind of help us and bring awareness to it. So I also, it's a practice. So I just want to say this too, that it's a practice. It's something that, because you might have been doing this for a long time or for a while, you're going to have to practice applying this, right? Because, old habits die hard, but they say it takes 21 days to develop a new habit. So, research an affirmation app and do your affirmations every day at a certain, if the morning is better for you, that's great. Or if whatever it is, whatever time is good for you, do that. But put some tools and implement some practices around you that will help you counteract these thoughts, because guys, they're not healthy. Okay. And we're all about being, all about the holistic well-being and being healthy. And I also want to tell you this, because I think it's important, and sometimes we may not hear it enough, but I also want to tell you this. If you're listening to this now, you belong. You deserve a seat at the table. You worked hard to get there. You deserve to be there. So when you're sitting at that table, do not doubt yourself. Okay? You worked hard to get to where you are. You are worth it. You are not a fraud. Okay? So I need you to sit in that, and I need you to hold on to that, because we don't tell each other that enough. Okay? And Harli G wants to tell you that you are worth it. You deserve it. Okay, let's elevate one another. Let's build each other up. I had the amazing opportunity this past weekend to attend an event, a Peace and Prosperity event. Shout out to the Godfather for putting it together and for inviting us and enabling us to be there. But in that event, what struck me, one thing that struck me really hard was the fact that this group of individuals were coming together, and a lot of us did not know each other at this event, but the trend, the theme was elevating one another in what we are doing, where we are going. And I just thought, wow, that is so amazing. Here I am in this event. Half of the room I don't even know. These are perfect strangers, but we are all committing to elevating one another, to holding each other accountable, to helping each other inspire to be better. And motivating and inspiring is right up my alley. So I could not be more grateful to have attended an event like that. Put a circle around you that is going to do that for you, whoever that may be. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be some of your colleagues, but who you have around you matters. Because when you are having those conversations, when you are experiencing imposter syndrome, that circle around you is going to be your community that's going to tell you, you know what? No, you are good enough. You do deserve it. you are worth it. That's the circle that's going to elevate you. So it's so important that you surround yourself with individuals that will elevate you, inspire you, motivate you, because we all need it. Okay. They are a few links below. So this solo episode is a little bit shorter than normal, but I feel like, you know what, I'll say what needs to be said, and that's it. I don't have to drag it out. But there are a few links below that I really want to draw attention to, because I really think it's important, especially for this episode. So one, we have partnered, and you hear this on my intro, but we have partnered with BetterHelp Inside the Bowl. So excited about that. And we have a link that we post in the show notes in every episode that we have, and it's a link that will give our listeners a discount for participating in BetterHelp services. So please, as we are talking about imposter syndrome and well-being and mental awareness, please, if you need to, if you've thought about it before and you're like, I don't know, please click and access the link below and get you set up with one of our BetterHelp partners. If you need therapy, don't wait for it, okay? It's affordable, and you'll be able to get the help that you need. So that's one of the links below. Also, it's 2023, and I know that some of you have already set some New Year resolutions or actively working on them. But one of the links below is to the book, Atlas of the Heart, by one of my absolute favorite authors, Brene Brown. She's amazing. She's written some amazing books, but I will tell you that Atlas of the Heart is one of my faves, okay? I have to say that in this book, Brene really talks about how we use the human vocabulary to express ourselves. And y'all, there are some gold nuggets in that book. It's also available in audio form as well. And she is so animating and entertaining in the audio. So I will encourage you. I'm a see it, touch it, feel it kind of person. So I have to have the book, but I also got it in audio form, and I really enjoy the extras, her animation, her spin on things, and she's actually the one reading the book. So if you haven't checked it out yet, or if you have the opportunity to, let that be one of your New Year resolutions. But trust me, you will not regret reading this book. So let's read it together, and then we can DM each other. We can talk about it. We can do that for 2023. Okay, look at that. Inside the Bubble with Harli G has a book club for 2023. Awesome. And then, of course, support your favorite pod. So the glow link below is a link that will help you to access supporting the podcast. Okay, we have been so fortunate to make it through almost 7 months, the pod, and that is all attributed to insiders. I love you dearly. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me, for walking on this journey with me. I really, truly appreciate it. So, that is all we have for today. And I, before I get off and say my famous line, I want to let you guys know that we have some amazing things that are coming through this year in 2023. Please stay tuned. And I can't wait for you guys to see what we are working on. It is awesome. And one of those things is also we are gearing up in 2023 to launch. I know I've been talking about this. It's coming, I promise. But to launch our YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm really excited about that. So we'll now be able to see video of all the podcast episodes that we have dropped. But that is it. That is all I have for today. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation. Listen, imposter syndrome, we're not going to take it. We are going to fight it, okay? And you know what I always say, there's purpose in your story.
our show today. Hit the subscribe button and share. Share this pod with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriends, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Inside the Bubble with HG. Keep the conversation going. Drop us a heart emoji. Engage with us. We would love to hear from you. New episodes are dropping every Monday on your podcast streaming platforms. And remember, there's purpose in your story.